Beneath the ancient baobab tree in the village of Olorun, where the spirits of the ancestors whispered in the wind, a love story was buried in time. A story of longing, of faith, and of promises that refused to die. In the first life, Adebayo was the son of a great hunter, strong and fearless, with eyes like the deep rivers that ran through the valley. He was loved by all, but his heart belonged to only one, Ifunaya, the Ila's daughter, whose beauty was whispered about in every corner of the land. Her laughter was like the sound of rain after a long drought, and her touch could calm even the most restless soul. But their love was forbidden. Adebayo's father had sworn an oath that his son would marry the daughter of Oba, uniting their families in power. Ifunaya, though beloved, was considered unworthy of such a match. Still, the lovers meet in secret beneath the baobab, carving their names into the bark and swearing that nothing, not even death, would keep them apart. One fateful night, as they planned to flee together, the village elders discovered their secret. Adebayo was banished, forced to wander the wide lands, while Ifunaya was taken away, never to be seen again. The baobab bore witness to their last promises. If we cannot be together in this life, let the gods reunite us in another. Generations later, centuries passed. The village of Olorun grew. The land changed, but the baobab remained, its roots deep in the earth, its spirits listening. Then came Nnamdi, a scholar from the city. He returned to Olorun to study the village's history. Though he had been raised far away, something about the land felt familiar, like a song he had once known but forgotten. One evening, as he explored the old path, his steps led him to the baobab. He traced his fingers over the deep scar in the bark, faint but still there. He felt a strange pull in his heart, a whisper in the wind calling him, and then he saw her, Adana. She was a simple village girl, but when their eyes met, it was as if time folded on itself. Memories there were not his flooded his mind, of stolen kisses beneath the moon, of whispered promises beneath this very tree. I know you, she said, her voice trembling. Nnamdi should have questioned it. He should have called it madness, but instead he whispered, I have waited for you. Over the next few weeks, they learned everything about each other, yet it felt as though they had always known. Adana dreamt of distant places she had never seen. Nnamdi remembered names and stories that had never been told to him. But fate had not yet forgiven them. Adana's family had arranged for her to marry the village chief's son, a man of wealth and power. Just like before, their love was declared impossible. Heartbroken, Nnamdi turned to the only place he knew, the baobab. Why must time be so cruel? He whispered, and the wind answered. That night, he dreamt of the past, of being Adebayo, of losing Ifunaya, of swearing that they would meet again, and in the dream, the ancestors spoke. The promise was made, but it was never completed. Only when the sun sets on the day of the 2 moons will the bond be sealed. When Nnamdi woke up, he understood. The 2 moons were the rare celestial events that the elders spoke of. The night when the harvest moon and the hunter's moon would rise together. That was the night they had to find each other, or history would repeat itself once more. The night of the 2 moons arrived. Adana's wedding was set for the following dawn, but as the village prepared for the feast, she ran. She ran through the fields, her heart pounding, her spirit remembering, and when she reached the baobab, Nnamdi was already there, waiting. As the golden light of the twin moons bathed the earth, a warm wind swived around them. The baobab hummed with energy, its branches shaking as though it would recognize them. And then the words shifted. For a brief moment, they were no longer Nnamdi and Adana. They were Adebayo and Ifunaya, standing beneath the same tree, their fingers interlocked, their love unbroken by time. The spirit of the ancestors whispered, their voice filled with joy. The promise has been fulfilled. When the villagers found out the next morning, they were still there together, at peace, their love finally blessed by the gods, and from the day forward, the baobab became a sacred place where lovers carved their name, knowing that if love was true, not even time would stand in its way. On the morning of Adanna's arranged wedding to the village chief's son, the entire village gathered for the ceremony. Drummers played, women sang, and the air was thick with the scent of incense and freshly prepared dishes. But there was one absence that did not go unnoticed: Adanna. As the chief's son stood waiting, dressed in his finest robe, whispers spread like wildfire. Had the bride run away? Had the gods intervened? And then a messenger arrived, breathless and wide-eyed, declaring what the elders had feared. Adanna was nowhere to be found. Furious, the chief's son demanded that the marriage proceed regardless, but without a bride, the union could not be sealed. It was an insult, a humiliation, and above all, a sign the ancestors had spoken. Some say Adanna's parents were initially enraged, fearing the wrath of the chief. But when they found her standing beneath the ancient baobab tree with Nnamdi, a strange peace filled their hearts. Perhaps it was the glow of the 2 moons from the night before, or perhaps it was the way the wind whispered through the tree branches, but they could not deny what they had already written by fate. Instead of a wedding of power and obligation, the village witnessed a different union, one of love, one that had survived time itself. With the blessings of the ancestors, Adanna's parents finally gave approval, and beneath the very tree that had watched over their souls for generations, Adanna and Nnamdi were married. Love is like the roots of the baobab, deep, unshaken by time, and bound to destiny. No matter how far the winds of fate may scatter two souls, they will always find their way back to each other if their heart remains true. The ancestors do not forget, and neither does the earth upon which love is sworn.